I really do want to make sure that I am cognizant of time. And so we will buzz through this as quickly as possible. We've been having some problems. I always have technical issues when I come out here, and I guess it's just that I am just not smart enough, and that's fine. I really think the big thing is the fact that I have Macintosh, and I don't think Mac and Microsoft like talking to one another, and so anyway, it's an exciting time out at the camp right now. Really, truly is. When the roofs came and got done, we had they brought 18 people out to work on the roofs. And I was the only, and there was only one, well, actually, 3 of us that spoke English. And so it made it really fun, okay? And so I had to go back to try to remember some of my Spanish, and it was a lot of fun, but I will tell you, they started on a Thursday at 10:30, and they were going to pull out Friday at 4 o'clock. We ran out of some material, and so they had to get some material brought from Joplin back over to us. But we had such a great time, and this is something that was such a blessing to me, is as they were leaving on that Saturday, after finishing up what they had the material for, these workers waited in line for me to come back. And they just all wanted to shake my hand and tell us thank you. And as we put them up, we fed them, and they just, it was something that overwhelmed me, okay? Because I'm going, man, you guys are doing the service for us. But they had all on by Thursday at sundown, the garage and the house were completely deshingled and reshingled. And by 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, they had the pool house completely deshingled and reshingled. And it was just very cool to see. So I'm just telling you this. The reason I say that is because God has been doing some pretty incredible things for us, and I am great. The biggest thing that keeps pushing me, and you guys have heard this before, but you're going to hear it again, we want to stick to our mission. Our mission is to make sure, in my words, that we are loving kids with the love of Jesus Christ and teaching them to be able to see Jesus in places, and how we can serve Jesus in all the things that we do. Okay? I think a lot of times we can get into our own cocoon, and a lot of times we are not seeing how Jesus is working. And so we want to make sure that people know the message of Jesus Christ. Even with the workers, one of the opportunities I got, just was one of those things I felt like I needed to say this. I know that most of them come from the Catholic faith, but I wanted them to know that Jesus loved them. And I wanted them to know that Jesus died on the cross for them, and that if they had any questions, I would be more than happy to talk with them. And the owner of the company came up to me and said, I have never had anybody say that to my workers before in life. He goes, why did you do that? And I said, because I felt like I needed to. And I just felt an impression that we needed to share this. This is what we're about. And hey, yes, looky there. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. All right. Thank you. So, that is our mission. Now we're going to look at our motivation. So go up one more. Go back one more, I mean. Over 90% of Christ followers accept Jesus as their Savior before the age of 18. And the chances of those who don't drops to only 6% who become Christians after age 18. That is our motivation, okay? That is our motivation. I work with deans, and dean teams and I work together, and we just talk about what our themes are going to be. And one of the, we are not set up for, to look at numbers it's good to look at numbers of how many guests we can have out there. It's good to look at some of those numbers. It's good to look at numbers of how many people are making a first-time decision. But that is not something that is, that we've been really tracking. But I can tell you that 31 first-time decisions happened at camp since last summer. Okay? And so that is something that is very, very, very encouraging for me to see. And I am just thankful for us to be able to see that. So we can go to the next slide, and we see people, we want to spend a lot of time outdoors in prayer, in God's Word, seeing God in what He is doing. And so that boils us down to the core values. Those were adopted in 2005. I discovered this last week while I was researching this and putting this together. So this was after my first stint at Prairie View as a youth minister. I am thankful that we have these core values to hold on to, because it gives us our mission of what we're going to do and how we're going to conduct ourselves. Number one, we're going to exalt Jesus Christ at all times. We're going to make sure that His name is famous throughout this world. And we've been doing that by a lot of different ways over the past 7 years. Some of you guys all know it, is the fact that we were struggling financially. And there were people that were in our community that were not wanting to extend credit to us. They weren't wanting to help us out. Okay? And because of that, we've had to rebuild relationships. Here, I can tell you right now that one of the ones that had been the worst, I went in yesterday and gave them a check to pay off what we owed them for some materials that we had bought, and the owner comes out from behind his desk, comes up by his wife and goes, "You guys have been excellent customers for the past 5 years." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "That does my heart so good." And so those are the things, and he says, "Well, you guys are doing something right." And I said, "Well, we want to make sure we're not dragging the name of Jesus through the mud." And he just looked at me and smiled. And he didn't catch all of it. I'm not sure he's a believer. Okay? But an opportunity for us to be able to do that. So God has been able to do that. That brings us to practicing excellent stewardship, making sure we look at our finances, and that we are taking care of the things that we need to take care of. That was something that was very important to me. Under this point, we've had a lot of people who have given money for insulation. We've had people who have given money for windows. We've had people that have given money for some of the other things that are coming down the pike. And want to make sure, as we've been there, I think we've all been there, there are the things that we want to do and the things we just can't afford to do. And then are the things that we keep talking about that, and now we just need to do it so that, and just pray God just bless us as we step out and accomplish one thing at a time. And God has been opening that over and over and over again. It's been awesome. We want to provide excellent hospitality to the people that come out as our guests. And it has been very cool to be able to see how people have responded. There has been something that's happened, and we're starting to get lots more activity from Camp Horizon, and they are an ambassador for us. But they have had to make, they've set a $1,600 flat rate for a family reunion. Well, when we price ours out, normal family reunions between that $800 and $1,000 range. So we're getting lots of people that are wanting to come out and use our facilities and different things like this. And one lady says, "Well, aren't you sure you don't want to charge more?" And I said, "Ma'am, would you be here if we charged more?" And she said, "Well, I just don't know how we need to do this." I said, "Ma'am, I don't know either, but we are able to take care of our costs. And you're able to take care of our labor by doing this. And we just would love to build a relationship with you that is even better." And then I'll always get the opportunity to tell them that one of the biggest reasons for this camp is so that people can be outside and see our Creator in His creation and know that His love for us is very real. And so we've been able to take care of that, pursue continuous improvement in the little things that are going on and what we're trying to do, and then nurture healthy relationships with not only with our churches but with our guests all the way around. And so we are trying to do that to the very best of our ability as much as we possibly can. So Our next slide is going to talk a little bit about, I'm not sure, I guess I could look. Maybe we didn't get more than that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. There we go. These are our goals. It is, I'm just going to tell you, PowerPoint from Mac is not wanting to work with PowerPoint for Microsoft. So, and that's okay, I'm sorry. But our goals for this year is, if you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it every time, right? And so we want to have 120 more campers this year. That'll put us at a number of 850. Let me just say that it's not just for number's sake. It's, in my opinion, it's evangelism. In my opinion, it's kids bringing friends who don't know Jesus. And that's where we want them to be able to look at that and bring more people. Now, you can think out of it another way. Well, Phil, how are we going to meet that 850? I'm not sure what God's going to have, but one of the things that I can just say is that to reach that 120, that means only a 5% or a 20% increase in the camp numbers, the numbers that came just from our member churches. So think about that for a minute. 20% increase of 10 campers from a church would mean you bring 2 more, right? That's doable. That's pretty easy. And so getting people thinking outside the box that way. Looking for new churches, supporting churches. Some people have walked away from camp ministry thinking they could not afford both the camp ministry and some of the larger national events. The national events are pricing themselves out of it a little bit more, but one of the things I'm seeing more and more is there are youth ministers coming and say, our kids are being exposed to incredible worship experiences, concert style. They're being exposed to incredible preachers and different things like that. But one of the things that they're missing is they're not having the relationships that are from our area. I'll go back to Wendy and Vance. You know, I look at their Facebook page and it's just like going back through all of the time that I had at camp as a youth minister. It's looking at the people they made friends with and the connections that they have made. Okay? It is pretty awesome to be able to see that. We're seeing that even more today. 5 new supporting churches. We would like to see more churches added, just as much as we can. So bring more kids and then for them to be able to help support us. 20 new 100 at 100 donors. Basically, I've talked about that a lot because that was one of the first programs that we started out here. Basically, looking for a way that we can have a sustainable income month to month so that we know how we need to budget. Okay? God continues to blow me away. We're just looking for, you can give it at whatever level that you might do. The incentive is that if somebody gives $100 a month, that gives us $1,200 for the year, but we've got that $100 a month that we can budget on. What we do is the incentive is that we, at $100 a month, that would give kids a free ride for up to 4 kids to be able to have no tuition that they would owe for their camp season. So at $230, you're getting up there close to what you basically just a payment plan for 4 kids to go to high school camp or middle school camp or summit camp, different things like that. It is a great way for us to be able to expand that. I know that some people are using that for evangelism. Got some families that are given that basically they're saying, well, we want to just make sure that 4 kids can go to camp that wouldn't be able to go to camp. And they're given that $100 a month. It's been pretty awesome to be able to see. So that is a great thing. We would like to get 20 more of those donors, and then 25% more year-end donors, whatever that might look like. and God has just continued to bless us with that. So there's been some very cool things that we've been able to see with that. Our next slide is just our needs. Right now, with a women's retreat or a family retreat that came out this last year, we had put our queen-size beds in storage and basically used just the bunk beds through our summer months. Well, we had a group out of Wichita that came in and wanted to do a family camp. They said that they were going to have between 10 and 12 families coming in. Very good. We set up 12 queen beds in so that they would be able to have their family camp and have families per room in our Rock Lodge. And so we were looking at that, and then they called me a day later and said, or the day before they were supposed to come out, and said, our 12 has just gone to 20 families. It was like, okay, so we need to set up 8 more rooms. And so we go in there to start moving bunk beds out and move the queen beds in. And after it took us 30 minutes to get one end off of the bed because of my luck, I just said, this is ridiculous. And so I looked at Blake, it was just the 2 of us, and I said, let's just start grabbing a queen bed and pull it in. We pulled it in, we rearranged the bunks, and at the present time, we could put 4 bunk beds and 1 queen bed, giving us a total of 9 that we could put per room in the brick lodge. We want to be able to do that with the Rock Lodge as well. We want to get rid of all of the mattresses that are cloth, that are not protected. We want to make sure that, and replace them with the mattresses that we are replacing that are certified bed bug free, bed bug proof. That's important. There's something that can be easily cleaned. With the chemicals that we have right now, with what we have with COVID-19, just doing some research yesterday, all the chemicals that we're already using are the ones that will be that are recommended by the CDC for cleansing. And CDC actually has, and I just discovered this yesterday, they actually have a camp quality checklist. And I started reading through that going, okay, very cool. So we are going to be putting that out. Reason I'm reading about this is because of what's happening, but I had 3 calls this last week. So are we canceling camp because of COVID-19? There is a scare that is out there. There is a fear. And I want to be able to come back and say, this is what we are finding. And this is what we're going to do. My flesh and my orneriness was to say, no, shouldn't be fearful. A.W. Tozer's A Scared World, A.W. Tozer's quote, a scared world needs a fearless church. That's a quote that's been there. So that's kind of been my mindset. I've got to soften up a little bit on that because these fears are real and people are being hurt. And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of that. So we're looking to get 17 more bunk beds with the mattresses, and that would be $660 each set. 17 more of those will give us 34 new beds, places for kids to lay their heads, which would give us a total capacity out there of 252 campers. That blows me away. Okay? A water softener in our dining hall. Main reason for this, we've had a brand new dishwasher that had been given to the camp last year. This last summer we had to replace the ice machine because the auger and the motor all seized up on it. Part of me wants to think that it's hard water. I want to make sure that we get a water softener out there that would just service those 2 items right there so that we can continue to be good stewards and protect our investment there. A reach-in refrigerator. Reach-in refrigerator is one that it can limp along. We can just keep pouring into it just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. And it's doing just fine, but we are real close to that thing just going belly up. And so if it goes belly up, then we're in a rough way.
Now,
So,
a reach-in refrigerator is what, twice as big as the standard one?
Yes.
In our homes?
yes, it is actually probably a little bit larger than that. So the footprint of the one that we have out there right now is 7 foot wide.
Okay.
So that's about 3.5 feet, and I think most of ours are right at that 32 inch. Does that sound about right?
And how much would that cost in the water softener?
Water softener, from what I've seen, is somewhere between that $500 to $750 range.
Okay.
Okay? That's what that would cost. The reach-in is, I've been seeing them right around that $3,000 mark. Okay? So that would help out there. So what is God doing? I already told you about this. It just blows me away about what God is doing, especially when you look back to 2013, our camper numbers were 249. That just blows me away. And there's been a lot of healing within our churches for this to happen. As a matter of fact, what I didn't tell you, what I want to tell you, is that this last weekend we had a youth ministers retreat. Something's been on my heart because I've watched some of our younger youth ministers come in, and not that I know it all, but one of the things that I did know is that I felt like there was something that I could teach them, that there were others that we could teach. But the biggest thing that I saw is I watched silo ministry, okay? So this church was doing what they wanted to do for their kids, and then this church over here was doing what they wanted to do for their kids. Yes, every church has a ministry to their own youth, but the biggest thing was a statistic that I read, and this is what pushed me over the edge, was 78% of pastors do not have anyone that they would call a close friend. That blew me away, and I could go back there and remember those feelings. Doug, I'm sure that you can remember some of those as well. The fact is that they needed that, and so I wasn't sure how they were going to respond. I wasn't sure how people were going to come out, and we ended up with 11 coming out. And there's a picture, I won't show it to you, but there's a picture I took during one of our worship sets, one of our worship times, and I was in a vantage point to be able to see people on their knees before God, crying out, tears streaming down their face before God. God, I need you. I need to understand, and I need your help. I can't do this on my own. And at that point in time, I said, we have people who have the heart for ministry right now, and that was very, very, very cool. It was a step of faith because I thought, well, are we going to get enough to be able to actually pay for it? And one of the youth ministers wrote a $300 check over his registration fee and said, this was much needed, I just don't want the camp to be hurt. Now, we were not only able to take care of our food costs and our utility costs and the speaker fees for the people that we brought in to be able to help speak, but there was also $100 extra over the top of our labor costs for that. It was just awesome to be able to see. So God's doing some pretty incredible things, and will continue to do so. I want to get to our camp doc real quick, and I think that's our next slide. Because we have gone online with our camp registration. How many of you registered your camper online this last year? 1, 2, 3. How was it for everybody? Okay? What was one of the problems that you saw?
Our church pays for a portion of it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a place to put that in.
Sure. Yes, ma'am. Same thing? Same thing? Okay. Those are some of the things that we were working on a little bit more. And what I wanted to do is just kind of let you see this. We still may not have the half price. That is something we may not be able to pre-populate the half price like what the church supplies. But what we can do is you will be able to know that you can take that fee that is listed and that you're responsible responsibility is only 50% of what is on that registration. So Camp Doc is going to look very much like this, okay? Right now we've got it set up so that our church leaders can look at it, and there is a test account that is set up. It says Test Council Hill Christian Church. Okay, so if you would jump up into the registration real quick, Amy. Okay, so middle school camp. So you can click on register for a new session. Maybe. Should work. If not, there we go. I'm going to stop right here. Oh, where'd I go to? Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's all right. It's jumped away a little bit. Basically, what has happened in the past, what happened last year, is that the search criteria was based off of the summer camp session that people were attending. That is fine, unless you want to give information so that the camp with that type of session was becoming the bottleneck. So anybody that had questions and would come and say, all right, why is it that I can't look at my campers coming from my church? Well, for us to be able to give everybody the opportunity to be able to see all the campers coming from Council Hill Christian Church or Anthony Christian Church, we had to give them full permission so that they would even be able to change what was paid, which is not good, right? That is what we did to be able to make this work. So what we're doing this year is everything is going to be set up under church, and then the church is going to set up what kids are coming from, the sessions will be underneath each church. This will give anybody that has access to this opportunity to be able to pull up a report that says what kids are coming to high school camp. And they will be able, from Council Hill Christian Church, it will be able to populate that list so you can look at, these are the ones that have registered. These are the ones that are going to need payment of 50% on that. This is what we need for transportation. And we have that all set up so that the churches can have that opportunity to look at that and not have to email Karen or myself to be able to get that information to you. Does that make sense? I don't explain things really well, but that's kind of how we're set up. The other thing that is set up for that is that they don't have that set up in that way. You guys are supporting Church of Prairie View Christian Camp. All supporting churches are getting the membership fee deducted. That will automatically knock $50 off of the full week fees, or it'll knock it down a percentage for some of the younger fees, okay? So that will automatically do that. The other thing, that if you register by the registration deadlines, which is May 13th for all June camps, and then June, I think I got it June 10th for all July camps, which is only Summit, then that will automatically come off of that fee that you see there on the right-hand side, okay? So that will, so for that $280 for a high school camp or for a middle school camp, then that would automatically become that $230. So your responsibility would be $115. That makes sense to everybody? Okay. As you would go on through, click on junior camp there. Click on that box and then continue. It tells about cancellation, interruption, prepaid deposits are non-refundable. We don't have travel arrangements. This is all stuff that they require, and just a little go through. Then at this point in time, you would be able to pay. I don't know why they have transportation there, but I'm sorry. You can decline protection plan for me, and then hit continue. And so the only thing that is due at the time of first time registration is $5. We had to have something in there, especially now with what we're dealing with, COVID-19, don't want people to feel like they're investing a whole lot of money right up front. We have a transferable but not refundable policy that we have set at the camp about 5 years ago. And last year, because of this, we were able to refund some other people. We asked them to try to find somebody that they would transfer to, and if they could not, then we would be able to help them out. With COVID-19, I think that we will do the same way. I think everything is going to be fine in 30 days, and we will have practices in store. So it does not let you jump past here without a payment. This is all secure. It works out very well for the camp in that after it gets to $700 balance, there is a transfer that is made to the camp directly. In the heyday, we were getting transfers. I think we received transfers every business day for 8 straight business days, which makes it really nice when you're looking at buying food or when you're looking at doing some of the other things. It makes it very nice for us to have operational expenses for the camp. Okay, so we can either go back or we can try, click on health profile. Thank you, Amy. That's awesome. If you have registered online in the past year or last year, then everything is going to be pre-populated. Once you sign into your account, which will be the same as what you had last year, once that has been, it will pre-populate the name of your campers. It will ask you to review some of that information. I put it on the back side of this right here so that you could read through that. And so it will allow you to be able to look through. If there's been any med changes, please let us know that. I am going to promise you that we will have RNs out there every camp session. Now, can I do that? I'm trusting God will provide RNs for every camp session. Right now, we have RNs for 5 of our 6 sessions. Okay, actually got an intern that wants to intern in the she's in nursing school, and so she's going to come out and do that, and she will be able to administer meds from her professors at school, as well as under the supervision of an RN. So I would love to be able to help her with that, because I told her, well, we can't have just an intern for being a nurse. You'd have to be an intern for lawn care and for cleaning and for all these other things too. And she was, no problem. I just want to be at camp. I said, all right, very good. So, very, very good information. So, you look through, it's going to ask for a lot of your simple stuff. Click your emergency contacts, your diet and activity, allergies. Click on allergies real quick. So it asks you questions about food allergies, about drug allergies, environmental allergies. After you push yes, then you're going to be able to click in allergic to, put in seafood. Just start clicking seafood, or typing, sorry. There you go. It automatically populates. You can click on that and then put under reactions, trouble breathing. Or breathing issues. Yeah, my bad. My bad. Sure, fever, click fever. See if it'll give you one for, okay, trouble breathing. Risk for anaphylaxis, you would put yes on that. Okay? We'll be bringing an EpiPen, either yes or no. If you say no, then we will get an email from we'll get an alert from Camp Doc saying, you know, we've got somebody with possibility of anaphylaxis. They're saying they're not bringing that, so I can call them up and say, can you bring an EpiPen? Because those things can cost the camp about $1,000 if you're not bought. But that is also, they sell us some of those supplies at about a 40% discount of what we can get it from a doctor unless it's already covered by insurance. So we just starts our conversation. Any questions so far? I don't want to, we can't walk through everything, but I'd be more than happy to show other people after the time with our kids. Okay. So you have that on health profile, registration, your health history. This is what is called our electronic medical medical registration or medical. I can't remember what EMR stands for, but anyway, it is for just so that we can use that electronic medical registration or information to be able to show them. We had 2 kids go to camp or go to the hospital this last year. I went with them both times with both kids individually. Okay, and I printed off the forms and took them with me to the ER and I handed them to them. The guy's looking at me like, you know, keep that away. And I said, well, permission form. I said, yeah, this is what information we got. And I said, it's the same that I have on my phone right here. He looked at my phone. He took my phone. Can you send that to me? I said, can. I showed him how to do that. And he said, okay, great. And he pushed the papers back to me. I don't want those. I don't want anything to do with those papers. And so the next time I came in, I said, I got another one. I had papers in my hand. He goes, put the papers away. It had been about 2 weeks. And he said, get the papers out of here. Just give me your phone. And I gave him the phone. He had that. Everything that he needed was in that medical, electronic medical record. And so it was very, very, very cool for us to be able to see that and to look at that. Protection plans are not something that you need to worry about. If you want to do that, that's fine. It is just extra insurance just in case something would happen out of camp catastrophically or whatever else, but that's for you to be able to look at. Campgrounds kind of took us by surprise last year, and it took me by surprise of how many people paid money to be able to make that work. And so we will do the best that we possibly can to make sure that any of those that come into my email, they will go directly to our campers. We will print them off and take those directly to campers. And then they try to sell you an upsell on custom labels. I don't think they're worth it, but we can't get them out of there. So we're doing the best that we can just to be able to utilize this. The biggest reason why we're using the Camp Doc is because of this, is for peace of mind. Okay? We send our kids off. I've got a picture of my granddaughter. She was here Thursday, Friday. We went to Exploration Place on Friday. My 4-year-old granddaughter, and we played and played and played. I'm sore from playing on the ground at Exploration Place. We had so much fun. She was going with me to the office, walking from the house to the office, and I said, oh, Troy, where's your coat? She goes, it's inside. And then Daddy said that it was back in the room. He was getting ready, and I said, I'm just going to put her in her coat. So I threw on my hunting coat with the orange vest, and she pulled it up, and it was just like this. And when I turned around and looked, it took me back to seeing my boys following me while we were hunting out in the field. And to be able to see that, and I said to my wife, I said, I can't wait to take her hunting. And she said, you're not taking your granddaughter hunting. I said, well, okay, we'll talk about that more. But the fact is, still remains is, I got a phone call yesterday, and he said his car was messing up driving back to Topeka. I said, where you at? And he told me where he was at. And I said, I don't know that I can leave, but I'm getting Mom right now. He said, let me go for another 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll call you. We got Karen all ready to go, was putting her in the truck, put a tow strap in the back of the truck with her. And Tanner calls back, said everything is doing fine, I'm gonna make it back to Topeka just fine. There's things that we wanna have with that peace of mind. And having our kids at camp, we wanna have that peace of mind, and I think that that's what this will do. I am going to stop. The biggest thing, most of the information is here. We have work days coming out, and then Senior Saints Day coming up. And if you haven't been to the camp before, and your campers are thinking about coming, or you're thinking about, is a place safe enough for you to send your campers, we invite you to come out. Last year we had an open house and invited people to come out and just see it, and for kids to be able to go in buildings and stuff like that. This year we're probably not going to have a day for campers to come out as a big open house. We're just getting busier and busier, but we will. People want to come in. Even if somebody's using one of our other buildings or a couple of our other buildings, we can definitely walk around and let them see, like the chapel. We can let them see places where they're going to be staying, where we have our eating, walking on some trails a little bit, and even looking at the pool and seeing when that's ready to go. That is basically it. I want the kids to be able to get what they want to do, I'll be here to answer any other questions. We can either come back in here, or I can just answer them around the table, however you guys want to do that. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. You are a blessing to me, so thank you.
Just an FYI, in your pew, we have these envelopes. So what I've done, I've got one marked for youth for my lunch, and I've got one marked for the camp, even though we never advertise that. If you want to help out with the camp, that would be very much appreciated. But anyway, just to let you know, that's what I'm doing. And so just let you know well, I started to say 500, would you believe 5? But there's something in there. All right, we're going to dismiss you now and go back to the fellowship hall. And Isaiah Landreth is going to be the one who is going to be praying for our lunch. So you go back and find you a seat. They've got tables sitting there, silverware there. They're going to serve you. God bless you. Thank you, Phil, for coming. I know as long as we're having a fellowship lunch, Phil will be glad to come. Are dismissed.
On request. Hey, buddy, how are you? I got a problem. How are you? What are you taking off?